Good morning and welcome to Barbara's Bulletin. I'm your host, Barbara. Today we're going to start by taking a look at some significant developments in international relations, particularly between Japan and its neighbors. The Japanese government has announced that it will be sending Parliamentary Vice Minister for the Cabinet Office Naoki Furukawa to this year's annual ceremony for the Takeshima Islands, known as Dokdo in Korean. This move comes amidst ongoing territorial disputes with South Korea. To provide some context, the Takeshima Islands, or Dokdo, are a set of remote islands in the Sea of Japan that are currently under the effective control of South Korea. However, Japan also claims sovereignty over these islands, and this issue has been a long-standing point of contention between the two countries. The decision to send Furukawa to the ceremony is seen as a significant gesture, given the complexities of Japan-South Korea relations. Meanwhile, in another part of the region, Russia has stated that there are no ongoing peace dialogues with Japan over their own territorial dispute concerning the Kuril Islands, known in Japan as the Northern Territories. Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov emphasized that Russia's relations with Japan have been severely strained due to what Moscow perceives as Tokyo's unfriendly stance. This dispute has prevented the two countries from signing a formal World War II peace treaty. It's clear that these territorial issues are deeply rooted in history and national identity, making them particularly challenging to resolve. As we continue to follow these developments, it's essential to approach the topic with sensitivity and an understanding of the complexities involved. We'll be keeping a close eye on how these situations unfold and their potential implications for regional stability and international relations. For now, let's take a break. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Barbara's Bulletin. Welcome back to Barbara's Bulletin. As we continue to explore the latest developments in current events, I'd like to shift our attention to a story that has been unfolding over the past few weeks, one that raises important questions about accountability and the fight against human trafficking. The case of Jeffrey Epstein has been a topic of intense scrutiny, with new details emerging about his alleged abuse of young women and girls. Recently, documents released by the Department of Justice have shed light on the role that American Express played in facilitating Epstein's travel arrangements for these individuals. According to the documents, Epstein used his Amex Black Card to book flights and other travel for women and girls, often with the help of his associate, Leslie Groff. The emails and exchanges revealed in the files suggest a pattern of behavior that is deeply troubling, with Epstein and his team working to coordinate travel arrangements for these individuals, often with little regard for their well-being or safety. American Express has since stated that it is committed to due diligence against modern slavery and human trafficking, but questions remain about whether the company did enough to prevent Epstein's alleged abuses. The fact that Epstein was able to use his Amex card to facilitate these travel arrangements, despite his prior conviction in 2008, raises concerns about the effectiveness of the company's safeguards. As we consider this story, it's essential to approach it with a critical and nuanced perspective. While the allegations against Epstein are deeply disturbing, it's also important to recognize that the fight against human trafficking is complex and multifaceted. It requires a collective effort from individuals, organizations, and governments around the world. In recent weeks, we've seen European officials, including Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk, speak out about the need for greater awareness and action on this issue. The United Nations has also emphasized the importance of addressing human trafficking in all its forms, including the exploitation of vulnerable individuals through the travel and hospitality industry. As we move forward, it's crucial that we prioritize a fair and balanced approach to this story, one that acknowledges the complexities and challenges involved. By doing so, we can work towards creating a more just and equitable society, one that protects the rights and dignity of all individuals. Welcome back to the show, everyone. As we close out today's episode of Barbara's Bulletin, I want to bring you up to speed on some developing news from the Middle East. We've been following the situation in Gaza, where Hamas has been navigating a complex web of international diplomacy and internal politics. According to recent reports, Hamas has indicated that it is open to the idea of an international peacekeeping force in Gaza, but with certain conditions. The group's spokesman, Hazem Qassem, stated that they would accept peacekeeping forces that monitor the ceasefire and ensure its implementation, as long as these forces do not interfere in Gaza's internal affairs. This development comes on the heels of a meeting of the U.S. President's Board of Peace in Washington, where several countries pledged to commit troops to an international stabilization force for Gaza. Morocco, Albania, Indonesia, Kazakhstan, and Kosovo are among the nations that have agreed to send soldiers or police officers to the region. It's worth noting that Hamas has also expressed willingness to consider handing over heavier weapons, such as rockets and mortars, to a Palestinian body, but its fighters are likely to resist surrendering personal firearms. The group has been busy rebuilding its organization in recent weeks, collecting taxes and replacing senior officials in Gaza ministries. As the situation in Gaza continues to evolve, it's clear that there are many competing interests at play. The U.S., Qatar, Egypt, and other nations are all working to shape the future of the region, while Hamas and other Palestinian groups are navigating their own internal dynamics. As we try to make sense of these complex developments, it's essential to approach the issue with nuance and balance. We must consider the perspectives of all parties involved and recognize the deep-seated historical and cultural context that underlies this conflict. That's all for today's Barbara's Bulletin. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay engaged.